And it's funny because when you're young, people tell you, oh, when you get older, time goes by faster. And you're like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Because a year's a year. A year's no different when you're 6, and it's no different when you're 80.
Right.
It's the same specific period of time. It's not like your time gets shorter, or a year doesn't go from 12 months to 6 months because you're old. So it's bullshit. They're right. So when the old people tell you that time goes fast, they're not bullshit.
No.
Welcome everybody to Lionz Den, episode 18. My name's Eddy.
I'm Brad.
It's Alex.
Welcome everybody back to the show. Just want to thank everybody for tuning in. Please like, update, invite, share on social media as much as you can.
Yep.
We will be getting the Lionz Den shorts up. I know we've been saying that for about a month.
Yep.
The idea of it was we were each going to do one, and kind of got held up a little bit. Just kind of got lost in life, but we definitely want to get back to doing that.
Yep.
We are on TikTok.
Yes, we are. Lionz Den 2020.
Today we're going to talk about, it's something I try to do periodically, and I'll let Brad jump in a little bit because as soon as we started talking about it, he mentioned kind of where he was at with it. But things that we're grateful for and things we'd like to get better with. So it's just kind of like a little self-evaluation, everyday life. It's easy to kind of get lost with things, take things for granted. Also take things for granted that we're doing that might not be exactly who we want to be. So I'll kind of let you start off, Brad, because you were already kind of talking about it.
Yeah. So I run my own business. It's very beneficial. I've tried to work for other people. It doesn't really work. The downfall to running your own business is you're always working. You're always thinking about tomorrow and the next day and payroll and this and that, and it becomes overwhelming. And I found myself of late, really even recently, like I tried to take some time off and had a long weekend, and is like Sunday rolls around, it's almost like that, like you got to go back to school and your homework isn't done kind of feeling, you know?
It really sucks.
Yeah.
I'm the worst.
So,
thank you for opening those wounds, Brad.
Yeah, that's the least I can do. So I end up getting kind of down on myself because I know my energy shifts. I know my family notices it. You know, Sunday night should be big meal, family together, but my mind is elsewhere. And it brings me down. Like I'm aware of it. I know it's happening. I know I shouldn't really have to worry because I shouldn't, but I just do. And kind of when we talked about this, there have been a lot of great things that have happened in my life very recently. You know, just got married, got a new house last fall, like all these wonderful things. And like Alex brought up when we were talking about it, it's because of the way I work and because of my work ethic and the things that I've done have afforded me, you know, these luxuries really. And I am very grateful for that. But in the moment of these Sunday blues, I seem to forget that.
Yeah.
You know, so when we talked, you know, when this topic came up, I was like, oh, that really hits home because on the way here, all I could think about is this next week and what I have to do. And, you know, and it keeps me driven, but it's tough on people around me.
Yeah.
But I don't, it's.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for me, extremely thankful for where I'm at right now. I mean, very similar to you with trying to get to a point where I have things that, and it sounds kind of vain because materialistic items are materialistic items, but you know, kind of to the point we were talking about earlier, when you work and you live at work and you miss things that you wish you didn't have to miss, you know, you reward yourself by giving yourself things that you've always wanted, right? It's pretty common human nature. For me, this is going to sound so stupid. Like it's always been a goal of mine to get to a point in life where I could buy a new vehicle, like a brand new, not somebody else's, something I order the way I want, how I want it. And it was something, a milestone I was able to hit, you know? So I'm very thankful, not necessarily for the item itself, but I'm very thankful to be in a position in life where I'm able to make those milestones for myself, little goals that I set for myself. things I could definitely work on with that though is living in the moment. So what I mean by that is I've been at the beginning of the grind, and I'm just talking about work, right? Where you're just starting off in a new career field. You don't really, especially in sales, what I do is very big on, or what we do, I should say, on making a name for yourself, getting your name out there, referral. So when you're going through that grind and you're climbing through the ranks, you get out to the other side, or you get to a place where you're excited to be at. You get a taste of what it's like to hit that milestone. So when I say to live in the moment, don't be too hungry for the next milestone, and the things that are happening in the now are going to fly by. And those are things that you can never get back. There's my wife and I have started talking about, future homes that we'd like to build, and we're years away from doing it, but we're so focused on, man, I can't wait till we get to a point where we can do this and we can do that. We have a 2-year-old at the house, and it's like I always have to remind myself, don't get too excited for the things you're working towards, because you're going to miss everything that you're living through right now. And if I keep that cycle up, eventually I'm going to be 70 years old, God willing, and my whole life has passed, and I'm at that one thing that I put my entire life onus on of I can't wait to get to this point, and then I'm going to get there, and it might not be as great as I thought. And everything I did, I didn't enjoy the things I was living through.
So a couple real quick important points there. I mean, you both are 100% right. I think when you have that hustle mentality, the great benefit of that is you want hustle. So you always want to do better. You always want to accomplish more. You always want to turn $2 into $4, $4 into $8,
Absolutely.
8 into 16. I mean, that's that hustler's mentality, which is exactly why we found, success in our various fields. The drawback on that is that hustler mentality never goes away.
No, you can't turn it off.
So it's always that next thing. Okay, well, what could I do next? And even though, what you do, Brad, isn't necessarily sales, it really is when you think about it.
No, it truly is.
And for us, we're in
The thick of it.
direct sales and luxury sales. So, seasons, and same thing for you, Brad. Season affects that. Rain affects that. Crappy weather affects that. Great weather affects that. Economy affects that. All those different variables. So what I love about what I do is every month is a reset. Every day could be a reset.
Right.
But really, when you're looking at your goals, every month is a reset. So you have a crappy month. You have the opportunity to get right back at it the first of the following month and, shoot right to the top again. The drawback on that is every month is a reset. So you had a great month, you want to be great again, and you want to keep continuing that. And to both of your points, it's very easy to get lost in that and kind of forget the day-to-day stuff and, the blessings that we have throughout the days and the weeks and all of that, because you're moving towards that next big goal or, driving towards that. As far as like the things that we've acquired, we earned them. So work our asses off. We do hustle. We do try to achieve, excel in our various fields. And if we can afford to buy the shit, that's on us. Dumb, indifferent, whatever, and it gives us enjoyment. So I'm not going to make any apologies for that.
No.
I got shit. I worked my ass off for that shit, and is what it is. But to that point, actually, what made me think about this was Wednesday. So I had a motorcycle that was like my baby. Thought I would have it forever.
Yeah, me too.
And I recently, Harley, damn you, love you, but damn you, actually called Alex, and I called Brad soon after. Daryl actually was there when it happened, but this bike comes out and I'm like, gotta have it. Which, you guys out there listening or watching really don't know me, but my bike was my bike, and I was going to die with that bike. There has been nothing I was been the slightest bit enticed to get. So anyways, I got it and put the devil in it. So we put a cam in there, did some D&D exhaust, did some cool things to the bike, and it's Christine. I mean, it's possessed by the devil. And it is so much freaking fun that every time I ride it, it's just pure joy.
Right.
And I have always loved riding. We all do. That's definitely, we all have that greatly in common, where that's definitely our Zen place. So I've always enjoyed it. It's like to a euphoric whole other level where I don't want to get off it. So Wednesday I did that. It's like last week, a couple weeks ago. So I was on the bike. It was beautiful out, perfect weather, just loving every second of it. Went to the job. Job was good. We're blessed where we work somewhere where if we hustle, we're definitely monetized for it. Our work ethic, if you're willing to work for it, you can get it. Work with a lot of great people. My circumstance, a lot of it was built with me, as long as I've been there. So handprint, footprints all over it. So it took an enormous amount of satisfaction. You kind of look around and you're like, wow, so much has changed. What a blessing. Met some great people. We were talking about Danny episode before last. He's new to my team. Just this great person that comes into your life that you're like, what a blessing, on top of Bill, Daryl. It's stacks of great people that are there.
Right.
All these relationships that you make that has never been, for me, work is work.
Yeah.
I seldom ever cross that line. It's ironic that everybody in this podcast is the ones I did do it with. But, usually work is work.
Yeah.
But
no doubt.
Went to my gig. Everything was cool. I'm around some of the coolest things known to mankind all day long. Was off the next day. Maggie and I went to the beach, took out the paddle board, which was actually a little death defying. It was pretty wavy that day. So wife almost drowned, but it was still great.
Yeah.
I mean, that part wasn't great, but the rest was great.
Yeah. Clarify.
Oh, that was it. I bought, sorry to devolve in this, but I got this. So anybody who knows me, I'm known for buying shit that makes life easy. So the walk to the beach is miserable. It's a dune. Yeah. So anybody in the Midwest, you get it. So it's in Michigan. It's a dune. So it's a mother. So I bought this cart that has these big ass wheels on it, and it worked like a charm. So I got to the beach. I'm a genius.
Weren't dead.
Wasn't dead.
Yeah.
Usually I need like an hour and a half to recuperate. And I'm like, this is awesome. Went on the paddle board, and it was just filled with blessing. Mm-hmm. And then kind of to your point, Brad, that next day you're kind of back to the grind and okay, well, what do I got to do next? And, those moments are so fleeting that you're so focused on the next coming thing, next accomplishment, next thing you have to achieve. Man, when I say accomplishment, I don't mean accomplishment like medals, but, we're all responsible. We're all bosses. We have people relying on us. We have, our bosses who rely on us. There's a lot of responsibility there. And obviously we want to live up to that, not let anybody down. We appreciate the opportunities. We want to make everybody look, like they made the right choices for that. But there's a lot of responsibility that goes with that. Mm-hmm. And like you said, just feeling a little down. Mm-hmm. And I had to kind of stop myself and what the hell is wrong with you? Like, look at the last couple of days that you've had. And those days are far more frequent than they're not. Mm-hmm. What do you really have to be down about? Life is blessing. Like all the shit you've been through your life to kind of get to this point. What the hell is wrong with you? And to your point, and like you said, it's not just the things, it's just everything that goes with that. Because it wasn't just the bike or the paddleboard or the Jeep or any of that kind of shit. My relationship with my wife, my awesome dog, that's tail shakes so hard every time I walk through the door, so she's going to fly. Mm. The people I work with, the friends I have. I mean, even the friends that I have, I'm just like just rock stars. It's like a hit squad of wonderful people. Mm-hmm. And I've been someone I've never really had any difficulty finding friends in life, but usually like in my group, there's like, you got 4 guys you hang out with, you got 1 friend.
Right.
Like that's your guy. That's the guy you talk to. That's when you have shit in common with. The rest is a little more superficial, which there's nothing wrong with that. You're just shooting the shit or whatever. But, you have that one rock. They got tons of people right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, life is really blessed right now. And that's kind of to the point of what we were talking about, things to be grateful for. And then things I want to be better at is definitely that. Mm-hmm. Being able to, stop and smell the roses a little bit and be able to slow things down. And it's funny because when you're young, people tell you, when you get older, time goes by faster. And you're like, you're an idiot.
Yeah. Because
a year's a year. A year's no different when you're 6 and it's no different when you're 80.
Right.
It's the same specific period of time.
Mm-hmm. It's
not like your time gets shorter or a year doesn't go from 12 months to 6 months because you're old. So it's bullshit. They're right. Mm-hmm. So when the old people tell you that time goes fast, they're not bullshit.
No.
It's legit. Like when I look at, even when you really think about it from like, let's say grade school, like when you start really remembering shit to high school, looking back on it, like that period of time felt forever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, felt like it never would end.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
High
you
school
couldn't wait to get out of school.
Longest 4 years of my life.
And then, from there to like your mid 20s, things still, things seem to be like time takes time. Mm-hmm. Seems like after that 26, 27, 28, you're just like, boom, year gone. When I look at the last 5 years, it was like a blur. And because of that, I want to be able to stop for a second and recognize those things more. Mm-hmm. And we do a lot of different things to do that. We talk about playing golf, kind of slows things down. You're out there, you're hanging out with your boys, bullshitting. I know you had a recent purchase.
Good. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Bought another boat. I have a boat problem. But, oddly enough, today, again, like have this opportunity, again, bought another boat. Didn't need another boat, but got another boat. Very grateful my hard work paid for that. But as I'm coming back, and it's a long-winded story, but anyway, as I'm coming back home, I can't, instead of thinking about like, how cool is this? I have this new toy. I have this thing, my family, we can go out and do this activity. I'm thinking about work, and I need to be, it's understanding to be conscious enough to slow it down and live in the moment. And I know times I've remembered to do that. One thing I've always said is if, 15-year-old me walked up my driveway, he'd think I freaking made it, like good house, good wife, 2 crazy dogs, awesome kids, toys, like the whole bit. Mm-hmm. I couldn't have, we talked hope and faith. I couldn't have hoped to have the life that I had when I was 15.
Sure.
This wasn't even in the wheelhouse, and I've done it, but yet here I am, bummed out because, I'm dealing with work stress just because there is that drive to be, the next, I need this, I need to get this van. Cause then I can put, another guy on the road and we can, I can keep growing the business. So finding that work-life balance and that happy balance and that time to focus on work is proving difficult as of late to me. So this is a great topic to talk about. But I think just like you said, time moves. So if you don't consciously try and slow it down,
right,
it will just, it's just going to keep passing you by.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
definitely.
That's like the biggest thing I try to focus on now for me is living in the moment, but I guess coming down to just recognizing the things that are around me. It's like a vivid memory only because I drive the road so often when going back to my house. I remember when my wife and I were probably like 2 months out from officially owning the house. Maybe it was like a month. We were taking, might even been less than that. We were taking my mom, my sister, and my grandmother from my sister's house to go see the house. And we were like coming down the road that we were going through, and they had there was willow trees overhanging it. And I remember like looking at it and being like, man, this is gonna be my drive to my house every day. Like, look at how cool this is. You know, this is gonna be awesome. And then you fast forward, 7 years later, and I don't even pay attention to it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't even know I'm on that road. Like, it's blinders. I know I'm
just
2
want to get
minutes
home.
and 22 seconds away from the house, and that's it.
All right.
And I'm trying to slow myself down where I can recognize what it is I'm going through and appreciate it. Things with my daughter when I'm sitting there and she's just, daddy, 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 play soccer ball with me, trying to recognize that, hey, this is an opportunity to live in the moment. Cause like you said, I think when you get into that hustler mentality, you can't turn it off. Mm-hmm. You can't just, hey, I'm going to hustle today and tomorrow I'm just take it easy.
Right.
Now, not saying that doesn't happen. I'm not talking about physically. I can work, have my 2 days off and sit around and do nothing, hang out with my kid.
Right.
I can't turn this off. And
right.
For those of you that aren't watching it, I'm pointing at my head. You can't turn your brain off. So, I think for me, I have it tattooed on my forearm, everything from my elbow to my hand on my left arm is all my faith, my religion. And I've got a rose tattooed, and it's not just because it's a filler and I needed something to go in that spot. It's because I have to remind myself to live in the moment, stop and smell the roses and appreciate the things that you have right now. Mm-hmm. But I feel like a lot of people go through that. Mm-hmm. I think that's where a lot of people's stress comes from, anxiety comes from, is they're always trying to grab that next rung on the ladder, and they don't appreciate the fact that they just made it to that one, if that makes sense.
No, it definitely does. I think what's kind of ironic in my circumstance is having, studied Buddhism for a long time. That's all about living for now.
Yeah.
Nothing is guaranteed.
Right.
It's very, all forms of Buddhism, but especially Zen is very living in the moment. Stop focusing on the future. It's never going to be what you think it's going to be. All that cool Kung Fu Panda stuff, the present, exactly that. That stuff's legit. It's a real part of that philosophy, that faith. And me personally, so I've been, very involved in 4 extremely successful businesses that's exactly what put them out of business. 4 businesses that were like unheard of at that time, and 4 different fields. One was kind of sales, one was clubs, one was very high-end cars. And each one of those, that hustler of those owners was exactly kind of what got them there. Mm-hmm. And then their inability to turn that off, where enough was never enough.
Right.
So 6 stores wasn't enough. I had to have 8. 8 stores wasn't enough. I had to have 12. 12 stores weren't enough. I needed to have 20. 1 club wasn't enough. I needed 2. And then I needed a restaurant. I needed this. And, what you found is, that the income kind of kept stretching because this business was super successful. That one, not so much.
Right.
And now you're kind of taking down that one. And then you do the third one, and that one's doing okay, but not as good as this one. And, you're just kind of stripping away from each one. So, I was there. I watched them succeed. I watched them fall. All are out of business. So, I have a very intimate relationship with what that does. Mm-hmm. And even one of them, I was a finance director at one of the stores, and he would be like, get so aggravated with me. You should own one of these, Eddy. What's the matter with you? And I'm like, Joe, I'm making big money. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm doing fantastic. Life is great.
Yeah.
No. You should own one of these. You're a sharp guy. You're a good looking kid. You should be an owner. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I don't want to get into what I made, but it was a lot of freaking money. Mm-hmm. More money than I ever thought I would see in my lifetime. And like, his brain just could not register on why I was okay with that. And, thinking he was nuts. I'm like, you're a maniac. Like, nothing is never, ever enough for you. Like, you always got to have more. And I'm private jet, was flying all over the country. I was living the life. Barbados, that type of thing. But that it's funny to look at it as, okay, hey, that's how you find success, is hustling.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also how you find failure. So what's that happy medium is a really interesting thing to kind of get into.
Yeah. It's like the hustler's curse.
Right.
Yeah. The hustler's curse is you either, anything you do, you're going to work hard enough and you're going to do everything you have to do to get to where you want to be. The problem is at some point you're going to be doing it long enough that you're going to force yourself to fail because you're just longing for more, and how do you find that balance? How do you take that core tenet of who you truly are, of grinding every single day, missing constant things with your family, doing the things you need to do because that's who you are and that's what made you what you are.
Mm-hmm.
How do you turn that off? Do you turn it off or do you put that energy into something else? How does that, what does that look like? I don't know. I mean, I'm not at that point where it's gotten to me where I want to be. I mean, I've made great strides professionally where I've been able to do some pretty amazing things, obtain some pretty amazing things, but I'm not where I want to be. When I get there, I don't know how to recognize it though. And I sure as shit don't know how to settle back and live in that moment. And I think a lot of people don't.
No, I mean, it's definitely very difficult.
Yeah.
And I mean, the other side of that too, where you're not that hustler that, relax, dude, I'm going to go surf, or I'm going to go skateboard, or I'm going to the beach where there's no hustle. And then the stress every month is paying bills and, worrying about the lights staying on. So, I mean, there's two sides that we talk about balance a real lot in this, in these podcasts because, and I just, the Buddhism stuff just pops in my head so much, the yin and yang, because I mean, it's all about that balance. But I think balance is obviously the answer there.
Yeah.
Understanding, one, being honest with yourself. Hey, I'm a hustler. There are things I like. There's things I want to achieve. And I mean, for me personally, I'm way beyond a point, and I actually was at that point at a very young age where I don't really need to impress anybody. I don't really give a shit.
Right.
I answer to God and God only. If you like me, great. If you don't, it is what it is. I'm okay. So it's not like I really have a lot of times hustlers, like them core hustlers, got something to prove to somebody.
Yeah.
Be it a relative, parent, girl jilted them, guy jilted them.
Right.
Favorite celebrity didn't give them the time of day and I'm going to show you type thing. So usually got a chip on their shoulder about something. I had a chip on my shoulder just because didn't have tons of money growing up. So, I mean, I definitely had goals, but for me, it was never proving anything to anybody. It was more, I like nice shit and there's things I like to do and I know it takes money to do that. And so I need to make it. Mm-hmm. And how do I make it? And a lot of the drive in that came from the joy that kind of came with that. Mm-hmm. So I've always found jobs where they're enjoyable. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of aspects to it that I like. I mean, for what we do, there's not many opportunities you're going to be able to sell something and literally change people's lives. Right. I mean, it sounds hokey or corny, but it's real life.
Yeah.
Like we've all seen it. You've done it. Where they get it, their eyes light up and you see them 2-3 weeks later and they're like, oh my God, I'm so happy. And this is, I mean, there's not many things you can do where you're selling that type of thing. Sales, if you're selling something that somebody needs, great. Mm-hmm. But to really have a real impact in someone's life is a blessing. Mm-hmm. And like I said, we're in a position where we can make, good living doing that. So, I mean, it's such a blessing, but you just don't want to get lost in it. You don't want to forget that that's what the blessing is.
I think we're all kind of similar because we do hustle, like growing up the way we all did. Nobody ever gave us anything.
Right.
There's, there wasn't much to give. So if you wanted it, you had to go work, started working when I was 13, just because there was stuff I wanted. That's how I was going to get it. I only knew that route. And because of that, and then like you said, you kind of get a taste of like, oh, because of my hard work, I was able to do this or this.
Definitely.
You know, and it kind of becomes addicting. And then, you know, now for me, it's full steam ahead to the point where I've tried it, you know, I've been like trying to work for somebody. It just doesn't work because I don't, you know, like your buddy that's like, Eddy, you should have one of these stores. I'm like, Eddy, you should. I know you should, like, you know, but that's how my head works of like, you know, so it's interesting to kind of hear you guys talk about kind of where you're at with stuff and understanding like how you've gotten to that place. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of comforting. It's going to sound bad, but this is very selfish that you both kind of go through the same things I'm going through. You know?
So because we're in the same boat you are, you feel better about yourself?
I do.
Oh,
Yes.
great.
The good news is
great friend, Brett.
us and all 35 people that are listening to this are all going through the exact same thing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly,
I think it's pretty common.
It's very universal. And I mean, I have hung out, been with, you know, extremely successful people. Mm-hmm. I mean, billionaires, and they're still in that same kind of boat. And honestly, what it does, I mean, the more money, more problems is not bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely, that's a truism that hustle just never really ends until you get to that point where you realize it doesn't end, and then you change that. And being a hustler is great. I mean, I respect all hustlers out there. I mean, you want something in life and you want to go for it. God bless you.
Absolutely.
I mean, I hope you have your best path to that. I think that's great. You know, I would just definitely warn that don't get lost in that. Don't let the next thing become the next thing, become the next thing. I mean, in my particular situation, you know, as I've gotten older, I found things to keep me grounded, you know, be it prayer, meditation, paddle boarding, getting on the bike, golfing, camping, fly fishing, you know, all these type of things that just really slow the things down and you're just really in the moment.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that people don't, if anybody who doesn't ride a motorcycle, if you're not an idiot, which I hope you're not, if you're on a motorcycle, just the mere safety of it. So a motorcycle is one of the few things that hits every one of your senses. So it hits your feel, taste, smell, touch, all your senses are kind of being stimulated. And then because of your safety, your alertness is through the roof. And because you're so alert, you kind of get very tunnel vision, almost forces you to be second by second, minute by minute, be hyper aware of things. So I think that's why that does that for all of us, and not just us. I mean, vast majority of people I know that ride have that same type of experience. But it's trying to find things like that slow things down. Yeah. You know, and keep this exercise that we're doing, you know, things that I'm grateful for, things I want to get better at. You know, I think having those honest conversations with yourself, kind of what we all talked about, you're just stopping for a second and, you know, okay, where's my mind at and why is it there? Yeah. And to Brad's point, I'm with my godsend of a wife on a beautiful, gorgeous beach, we're all kind of water guys, listening to beautiful water. Just got off my beautiful bike the day before, and it was getting late, and I was like, all right, work tomorrow. Now, I'm not working in the coal mines, not busting my ass, digging ditches, not shoveling manure, any of these things that very super strenuous, tough job. I'm selling a super cool thing to, you know, and that's the other thing. I've been in a lot of businesses. Our customers are phenomenal. They're great people. You know, they're very upbeat. They're super excited. So it's not like a lot of things where it's a necessity and people are like, here, give me that toilet paper and get me the hell out of here. You know, people are super crazy excited about it. And so it's not like even the job is, you know, that grueling anyways. And not to say there's not challenges. There's challenges in all kinds of sales, the ups, the downs, goals to hit, all this type of stuff. But the job is a blessing in and of itself. I just had to like really stop myself and what are you doing, dude? Like stay in the moment. It's beautiful out. You're here with your wife. Life is good. Chill the hell out. But it does take that cognitive evaluation of just stopping for a second and being aware that, your mind's kind of getting away from you.
I think if you're a hustler, the best way to stay grounded is to surround yourself with people that are able to help you with that.
Definitely.
I mean, I know for me that's been huge for me. I mean, that's Lionz Den does that for me. You guys do when we talk on the phones. It's a way for me to remember what I do, why I do what I do, not just professionally, but why I am the person I am, or I try to be, by surrounding yourself with people that keep you on that ground level. It's not necessarily you have to be into camping, you have to be into fishing, golfing. It's all about finding a group of people that are willing to try new things with you for the sake of trying to find common ground, to find a place where everybody can kind of reset.
Definitely.
Camping, when we first started talking about doing the dispersed camping with you, Daryl, and myself, you kind of did what you do and dove in head first and made a huge splash. And it was the first time I'd ever done something like that in my entire life. I followed right behind and just went all in and got all the gear. And it's like the next thing I know, we're going on a camping trip, right? Like Eddy's like, hey, we got our stuff, we're going. Mm-hmm. And we did. And I was super thankful that we did. And we didn't know what we were doing. We showed up. It was a foggy night. It was cold. There was snow on the ground.
Cold.
Yeah. It was like, it's only like probably a mile and a half from where you park to where we sleep. But it takes like 2 hours to do it because you're like through the woods, it's hills.
And you're carrying a lot of shit.
You're carrying like 75 pounds on your back, 80 pounds on your back.
This sounds like fun, by the way.
Yeah. Brad's making a face.
Sounds delightful.
Well, so we get there and we're like, okay, so we should be at our campsite by this time. First time we'd ever been there. I think it took us like 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah, we got lost too.
It was like 2 a.m. Snow on the ground. We can't get a fire going.
Can't wait.
No, yeah. So we set the tents up, but every time we went, it obviously got a little easier, and we wouldn't have done that if it wouldn't have been you pushing. Now, I enjoy camping, but camping is typically been go to a place that's got a shower
campsite,
stall.
Yeah.
You set up a campsite. You can walk to your car to grab that bag of gummy worms you got sitting in there, and this is nothing like that. So when you went full head in and brought us with, it was an experience I don't know if I would have tried or motivated myself to try if I wouldn't have done that. Mm-hmm. And golfing, one, I didn't think golf would be something I'd ever be into. And then I got into it, and Daryl's been into it huge. And I know he's been on you with the guys at work to do it. I've been talking to you about doing it. You jumped in, and holy shit, this is phenomenal. And it's kind of funny. We talk about Danny. I remember I got a text from you, and it was kind of like an itinerary, but it was like out of the blue. It was like, hey, dude, how did it go? Spring and summertime, we're golfing. Fall time, we're camping. In wintertime, we're snowboarding. I was like, where did snowboarding come from? He's like, well, Danny brought it up. It looks cool as shit. You can buy some pretty cool shit with it. Like the gear's pretty cool too. And I was like, all right, yeah, like I'm in. And this was like the first time I was never really hesitant before, but I was like super in because I was like, every single time I've tried this, my wife gets really, really mad because I end up spending money that I shouldn't. But I also get outside, develop a new hobby that I enjoy. It gets me connecting with people. We meet even more people. I mean, a guy, Vern, that you work with, I haven't seen him in a couple of years, just phenomenal guy. We go golfing. That's something he's big time into. So I get to connect with him once a week, once every couple weeks. But it's because we're trying things that bring us out of our comfort zone, and you have like-minded people that are into different things, and you kind of get to experience that, which is super cool. Super, super cool.
No, and I think an extremely important point that you brought up is finding that pride, finding those people where like-minded in the sense of good people, good energy. I mean, like you said, Vern's just a wonderful, positive, phenomenal human being, give you shirt off his back.
Absolutely.
When you're around those people, because they're such great people, when they mention something as boring as golf, and you're like, oh, who the hell wants to golf? You respect them.
Yeah.
And Daryl and Alex and all these guys. I mean, that's kind of where I was at. I was like, this is the most boring shit I've ever seen.
Couldn't believe I was doing it.
And you get out there because of that love and respect is there. And you're like, all right, well, golf sucks, but these are my boys. It'll be fun hang. And you do it and you have like a whole new experience and it's something in your life that you're like, oh my God, this is incredible. Like you were saying with the dispersed camping, when we got there, it was pitch black. Like you said, it was like 2:00 in the morning. And we knew like we were on a ridge, but we really couldn't see a whole lot besides there was a little river underneath us. And we woke up and it was fall. So like colors were turning and all that. We woke up the next morning and we were like, it was breathtaking. It was absolutely gorgeous. And you're like, that's why you make that shitty 1.5-mile trek with all the weight is for that view.
And it was such an adventure. Like we almost set up
hey,
camp
we laughed our asses off
3 times at places that weren't even campsite. And we're like, okay, I hear water. We're high up in the air. This is the campsite. And then we finally get to the campsite and we get set up. And like Eddy said, I mean, I used to have a picture on my phone. I opened my tent and from just leaning my head up, you're overlooking like, I don't even know what to call it. Like it's too big to be a hill. It's like
a ravine.
Yeah, I guess a ravine's the right word. And it goes straight down like 150 yards. And then it's just a wide open river with trees on each side, all different colors. Wow. And you're like, this is why we did it.
Hey, it was breathtaking.
And I mean, it was like 28 degrees at night or something that night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
28, 29
32.
Degrees. I think it was less than that because you kept saying
cold.
it was below freezing because we were giving Daryl a hard time because he was sleeping on like a jacket for a mattress pad. And he's like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. But it was an experience we never would have done if you wouldn't have just been like, hey, I'm going disperse camping. And it wasn't like, hey, you're going disperse camping. It was just every other conversation. Hey, did you check that website out? Did you check into this? And I'm super glad I did because it's awesome, you know?
For sure.
Yeah. And I think to that point, you know, finding that group that, you know, because like-minded is about having that same commonality. You don't want somebody just like you.
No.
And then you're always going to be doing the same shit.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you want somebody who has good intention, you trust, you like, you know, you respect that, hey, let's check this out. And you do it. And, you know, talking about, and we'll kind of, before we end, go around and say some things we're grateful for and some things we want to be better at. But, you know, it's a blessing. Yeah. And it really does. You find those things to kind of ground you and slow things down a little bit. Yeah. Kind of put you in that touch, that God space where, you know what, thank you, God. It's such a blessing to be here. Let me slow the hell down. You know, because that's really when you have those blessings and you don't address them, it's kind of like you slapping God across the face, like, yeah, get away from me.
Right.
Thank you for this, but I ain't got time for this.
Right.
I got to hustle. I got to go make more money.
Yep. No, that's a good point.
Super cool, God, but I don't have time for this. Right. So it's extremely such a dick move to do.
Yeah, it is. Right. It is.
And it's obviously none of our intent, but when you really stop and think about what you're really doing is you're doing that. And the worst part about it is if there's someone involved, any of our wives, that's exactly how that person feels.
Yeah.
100%.
You know, like you're here with me, we're spending this time together, and really that's what you're worried about.
She
know,
tells me all the time.
Tomorrow at work.
You know, those people can wait. You don't have to answer that email right now. You don't have to answer that text from that customer like Sunday night. Like you don't have to do that.
So Skylar, that's super shitty that Brad does that.
It is. I'm aware of it. That's the worst part. Like I'm
You're
aware
screwed too because she listens.
She does. She does. Just wait till you get on a snowboard. Just wait.
I got your back, Skylar.
Yeah, he'll be on the ticky tack snowboard falling
doing cartwheels. Ow, 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 falling all the way down the hill. Oh no. But I mean, I'm just as guilty of it. Yeah. I mean, we all do it. It's one of those things that obviously you're not thinking it through that way. It's certainly not meant to hurt that person, but you know, the action is really
100%.
That's kind of what it's saying.
Yeah. And even, you know, you talked about friend groups, surround yourself with good people, you know, this is why I wanted to talk about it because I knew inherently I'm doing all this stuff. I knew I need to break the cycle. I need to talk to somebody about it. Right. You know, again, it goes back to that communication we talk about so much. Like, you're my boys. I'm going to talk to you about it.
Right.
Like, you know, like, and it is comforting. Like, everybody goes through it, you know, and knowing that you're in this beautiful place, you had to kind of be like, whoa, wait, what, so, there's a comfort in numbers,
Definitely.
So
no, for sure.
So in general, whether it be in this situation, or if you're feeling away, reaching out to a friend group, or even learning new hobbies or sports or things you're into that you normally wouldn't be, just talking to people makes life better.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Really.
Amen to that.
Agreed. And to your point, even the camping, and I feel bad, can't think of his name off, but I was looking for a bicycle, FNA, I think it is. And bought this bicycle, bullshitting with this great guy, and I go kayaking, and I go here, and this guy's doing like the coolest shit in the world that I've ever heard of, that you just don't really think you have access to.
No.
And he's talking about it, and I'm like, I could do this shit too. Why not? And I think that's when I started looking at the stuff, and then the call to Alex and stuff, and he was like, you want to go camping, really?
Yeah, I remember you telling me. I was like, wait, what?
That would be like, as soon as I would start the explanation of the trip, I'd be like, so me, Daryl, and Eddy went dispersed camping with metal frame backpacks. Wait a second. Eddy went camping in the woods?
Yeah.
I mean, you used to go camping
Yeah, a lot. Not really camping, but cabins. And I was definitely outdoors
get out in the
person.
woods,
Definitely, a lot.
And it's just amazing that was the big hang up. Like, I would tell him all the amazing stories, like the time that Eddy almost let me just fall in the river and drown, which we'll share in a different episode. But you tell all these hilarious stories, and the only thing people would get out of it is like, I'm just struggling with the fact that Eddy was out sleeping in a tent in the middle of the woods.
I mean, when I met Eddy, he lived in city. I mean, the city was his life.
Definitely a city boy.
City boy, Southsider. Like, the fact that you're going out and camp is like,
he's got Thor's battle axe, bro.
It's mind blowing. That's not mind blowing.
Yeah,
but it's mind blowing that it's mind blowing that he uses it camping. I guess
that morning he woke up at like 4 o'clock.
That's the only way I stayed warm. I would have froze to death.
I woke up at 6 a.m. to him, and we had a tree that was like overhanging, and he was like down the ravine a little bit, like holding on to part of the tree so he didn't fall back the 100 yards into the river, and he was just hammering away. And by the time I woke up, that entire overhang of the tree was chopped up into little like 6-inch pieces, so he could get some fire.
That was the only thing that kept me warm.
And I woke up, and he's like, all right, I chopped it all, now get a fire going. I'm freezing my ass off.
And I mean, to that, and I will say, for me, and I know we all relate with this, water, the hunting and stuff.
Yeah.
Nature definitely brings me closest to God.
No doubt.
I mean, by far.
No offense.
That's the thing, that something about nature just feels like that's a direct, you're kind of channeling right into to God.
You're vulnerable.
And you just kind of feel that his experience, his creation, all that type of stuff.
Absolutely.
So I definitely want to couple of things that you are grateful for, and a couple of things that you'd like to work on. Brad.
I am grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the life that I have, that I've built. I definitely need to work on being in the moment, especially after this conversation. It's a huge thing. I find myself distracted a lot, and I need to slow time down.
Yeah.
Those are key things for me.
Yeah. I'm really thankful for my family, my group of friends that I have, for you guys, the Lionz Den. Personal trait of mine, I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful that I'm able to be self-aware, be able to look inward. Some things I need to work on is living in the moment, is obviously one of mine, big time, slowing things down, living for today and not for tomorrow or for next year. And I want to work on being more understanding. When you're going through our last episode, we talked about, understanding that people are at different places in their life. And I'm pretty good about understanding that. I'm not always good about practicing that.
Sure.
And understanding how people navigate through things. So I'd like to be a little bit better about being understanding when going through things with people.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thankful for my mother, my creator after the creator, dealt with my crazy ass her entire life, has been just an absolute rock star, saint. Couldn't ask for a better mother in the world. You guys are all like, I should
You're
thank
an
my mother.
asshole. Not because he loves his mother. It's not what I meant. He's an asshole. I thought we were just doing like a broad general blanket, and he's up here giving an Oscar Emmy speech.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, my mom listens to this every week.
So I love my mother,
Yeah.
unlike the other guys at the table.
You know I love you. You know I love you.
My incredibly, wonderfully patient wife that actually deals with all these stupid ass things that we were just talking about that we try, and she is always super supportive, super understanding, and was like, oh, it sounds cool, or at least tries to pretend like she is, which she's amazing. And I'm really thankful for the ability to be in a place, be in a job that gives me the possibilities of doing that. I've been in a lot of places. This time, this moment in this life, I couldn't ask to be in a better position, job wise was just such a blessing. Things I really want to work on, and we kind of touched on the hustler thing, is the other end of that, is me understanding that not everybody's structured that way. Not everybody thinks that way.
Right.
Because of that hustler mentality, I'm always, and being a boss, I see myself as, I want to lead and show a good example, always trying to bring that best out of people. And I'll share a real quick, funny story about Alex when he was with me. So
I'm nervous.
And I really didn't even, and I still agree with it. I don't have an issue with it, but I was, he had sold 3 things, and guys, we purposely don't get into very particulars because we don't want it to be about that. And they might be like, hey, we don't really like what you guys are talking about. Why the hell you mention us? So we kind of keep it vague, but had sold 3 things and was pretty damn excited about it. And by the way, a trifecta in sales is pretty great. And was like patting himself on the back, and it was the patting himself on the back that kind of irritated me. So I was like, you did your job, dude. Go make more calls. What do you want, a pat on the back? Like, go out and make calls. You've only made 15 calls. And the whole point of it was, I come from the background, act like you've been there before. So don't be the guy doing the splits, after the touchdown and, put the ball down and go back to the bench. Because I think that just sends such a powerful message that I've been there, done that. And he was somebody I saw huge potential in for a future, for a management role, for that stuff. And I kind of want to ingrain that in him. But he was talking to somebody where he's at, and he was telling the story, and I was like, wow, that kind of sounds like a dick.
I was like, hey, you can't go back on this. Like, everything I've created my life into being over the last 7 years has been based on this principle. Like, you can't tell me that.
He kind of sounded like a dick when he said it. And he was like, you said it to me. And I was like, yeah, that's true. But to find that happy medium where, you're trying to bring the best out of people, but you're not strangling them to death and trying to do that, and understanding that everybody has different goals, and that's okay. Not everybody wants to be the best of the best. Some people are perfectly fine paying bills and coming to work and, putting their best effort forth, but they don't have to be number one. Cause I could definitely get lost in that and compliment more. We actually have a text thread, and one of our guys, Daryl. It was Daryl. Actually, did you put that up? His outfit?
Yeah.
So Daryl looked like GQ model.
Yeah.
Looked incredible. His outfit
fresh.
was the shit.
Yeah, it was looking fresh.
And so we were just kind of compliment him in that, and it just felt good.
Yeah.
They'll tell you, you look great.
Yeah.
Which in normal, especially us tattooed, our environments just seems like, not something you normally do, but it felt like great to tell, hey, you look freaking great.
That's bullshit.
And
though.
why is that weird?
Yeah, it shouldn't be. That's bullshit. Yeah, because you
and I'm not going to let it be
time,
weird.
You spend money.
Right.
Yeah, fuck all that.
Agreed.
Acknowledge it. If somebody, I know for me, now that I buy.
You've actually always been really good with that.
Yeah, nicer stuff. Acknowledge it. Hey, man, that looks great.
Yeah.
You know why? Because that person took the time to research it. They bought it. They spent the money on it, and it makes them feel good. Fucking tell them they look good.
Right.
What's wrong with that?
Or girls, you're like, oh, I don't want to give the wrong idea. I should, I'm not going to do that.
No.
I'm just going to start complimenting people. And if I feel like I want to compliment, I'm going to do it.